Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
When his body pressed into mine, a wave of intense sensation sent my thoughts spiraling into nothing. His ragged breathing and quickening pulse echoed in my ears as his chest pressed against me. Our bodies intertwined, creating a heat that pulled me into a vortex of forbidden pleasure. After Tuesday's volleyball practice wrapped up, we gathered in the community center's meeting room like we do every week. As I changed out of my sweaty workout clothes, I watched my teammates from the women's volleyball club. Today's practice had been especially intense, and everyone looked exhausted, their faces flushed and breathing heavily. But beneath that fatigue, I sensed a weird vibe in the air. My name is Olivia, I'm 38, and after 10 years of marriage, my life had become stuck in a dull rut. The same daily grind had drained the spark from my life long ago. This twice-weekly volleyball club was my only break from reality. The post-practice meetings were more than just a catch-up. They'd turned into a space where us could open up and share our true feelings. On weekday afternoons, with the kids at school, we cherished this uninterrupted time to ourselves. Today, still pumped from the tough practice, we filled the room with easy conversation. What caught my attention most was the conversation between Sophia and Emma. Sophia seemed troubled about her marriage lately, and she was seeking advice from Emma with a serious expression. As their talk grew bolder, I couldn't help but lean in to eavesdrop. My heart skipped a beat, dying to know what Sophia would say next. One day, Sophia spoke up with a look of determination. Her face was still damp with sweat, as she was still catching her breath, and said in a shaky voice, "Last week, my husband and we tried something pretty bold." Her eyes danced with nerves and determination, her cheeks still rosy from the practice. As everyone at the table turned to her, she paused to steady herself before continuing. We spent a day swapping partners with Emma and her husband. The room went silent for a moment, and I froze, my breath hitching. "What?" I blurted out without thinking, and Sophia gave a small smile, nodding. "Yeah, a partner swap. We tried it with Emma's family." Her words lingered, thickening the air briefly, before intrigued eyes locked on her. I was stunned, but a weird excitement stirred inside me. This wasn't just an affair. It was a bold, taboo adventure, with everyone on board. Sophia brushed her hair back and went on, her voice lighting up. At first, it was super awkward. But when I was alone with Emma's husband, Ryan, something shifted in the air. Her eyes lit up as she relived the moment. When Ryan took my hand, there was this fierce, electric strength I hadn't felt from my husband in forever. She paused, biting her lip with a faint smile. When he pulled me close, my heart felt like it was going to burst. His unfamiliar scent, the way his breathing got closer, it sent shivers through my whole body. Her story came alive with every detail. His hands wrapped around my waist, and when his lips brushed my neck, it was like everything melted away. It was this thrilling, taboo rush. There was a flicker of guilt, but in that moment, I just wanted to dive in. She covered her face with her hands, laughing softly, but behind that laugh was a surge of intense emotion. Ryan's touch was firm yet gentle. When he explored my body, I realized I didn't know I could crave someone so fiercely. Her words sent my mind racing. The wild thrill of being with a stranger, the sound of his ragged breathing, the heat of his skin sparking thrills, and the waves of pleasure that followed, it all felt so vivid in my mind. "So, how was it?" I asked, my curiosity slipping through. Sophia's fiery gaze captivated everyone as she answered, It was beyond words. Intense. Sure, I felt guilty. My husband crossed my mind. But in Ryan's arms, I felt completely alive. It was like my deepest desires were waking up. Her voice trembled, but carried a confident edge, and her fiery gaze held everyone's attention. The team watched her with a mix of curiosity, shock, and maybe a hint of jealousy, completely drawn into her story. That day, Sophia and Emma's story set the room ablaze. One by one, others began spilling their hearts about their marriages. My husband doesn't even see me as a woman anymore, one teammate sighed. Another chimed in, exactly. It's the same routine every day. All the passion's gone. We all shared similar struggles. How do you reignite a relationship that's gone cold? The discussion got serious. Then Emma tapped the table lightly and suggested, how about a weekend retreat at our cabin? Her smile said it all. It'll look like a volleyball camp, but the husbands are coming too. Everyone froze for a second. Her intention was crystal clear. For a moment, the room went quiet, but then someone shouted, "Let's do it," and the room erupted with excitement. Walking home, I was alone with Lily, my longtime friend. When our eyes met, I saw a quiet cry for help in her eyes that hit me hard. "Lily, you okay?" I asked softly, but she shook her head slightly and mumbled, "Yeah, just thinking about some stuff." I could tell she was wrestling with the same boredom in her marriage as I was. She was quieter than usual, so I asked carefully, "What do you think about the retreat, Lily?" She walked in silence for a while before whispering, I want to try it, Olivia." Her voice wavered, but held strong. My heart raced at her words. Back home, I brought up the retreat with my husband, Ethan. The volleyball team's planning a weekend camp at a cabin. Want to come? Ethan looked skeptical at first but said, "If it's a team thing, sure, why not?" I caught a glint of restlessness in his eyes, just like mine. Maybe he was craving something new too. That thought sent a rush of excitement and nerves through me. On the morning of the retreat, we headed to the cabin deep in the mountains. Ethan was quiet, but I noticed his fingers trembling slightly. I was buzzing with nerves myself. Imagining what might happen next made my breath catch. When we arrived at the cabin, several couples were already there. Lily and her husband, Jake, had arrived too, and they exchanged light greetings with Ethan. Watching them, I felt a strange sensation. These people, how would our lives tangle with theirs soon? Emma gathered everyone in the spacious living room and spoke in a soft but firm tone. This isn't just a camp. It's a chance for us to be honest with ourselves. She began to explain the real purpose of the retreat, calmly but with weight. We're going to try partner swapping. With everyone's consent, we'll share a new experience. The husbands' faces froze in an instant. Jake raised an eyebrow and said in a low voice, "Wait, are you serious?" Ethan's jaw dropped slightly as he stared at Emma, his face torn between shock and disbelief. "Hold on, what does that even mean?" he asked, his voice shaky. The other husbands exchanged anxious glances. One tried to laugh it off, saying, "This is a joke, right?" But Emma shook her head with a smile. "No joke. We're all tired of our routines, aren't we? This is a chance to breathe new life into our relationships." A tense hush settled over the room. Jake leaned back on the couch, arms crossed. His eyes wavered with doubt, but sparked with interest. Ethan glanced at me and asked, "Olivia, did you know about this?" I nodded slightly and said cautiously, "Yeah, I heard about it. What if we just think about it?" Emma spoke again. "No one's forcing you. But let's be real, we all want something to change. This is about understanding each other better and finding new excitement." Her words started to shift the husband's expressions. Jake let out a sigh and muttered, "Honestly, things with Lily have been kind of dull lately. But is this really the answer?" Lily took his hand and said, "Honey, let's just try it. It's not about breaking us, it might even make us stronger." Ethan still looked hesitant, but when I squeezed his hand and said, "Ethan, I'm nervous too, but what if we try something new?" He let out a long breath and nodded. "Okay, let's do it. But this is really okay, right?" His voice held lingering unease, but his eyes betrayed a subtle spark of anticipation. "All right, we'll draw names to pick partners." Simple enough, Emma proposed, and the room's vibe came alive again. The initial shock gave way to curiosity and excitement, and the husbands shared awkward smiles. Jake chuckled first, saying, "Man, this feels like something out of a movie," and his joke broke the tension with nervous laughter. No one objected. It was like everyone exhaled, their pent-up desires finally spilling out. My heart hammered like it could shatter. When I drew a name, my hands shook. Unfolding the paper, I saw Jake written on it, Lily's husband. I looked up and saw Lily and Ethan locking eyes. She must have drawn Ethan's name. "Oh, come on, really?" I laughed, and Lily gave an awkward smile, nodding. It felt like fate was playing a prank. That night, each couple went to separate rooms. I stepped into a room with Jake, and the door's click sent a jolt through me. The tension dried my mouth, and I couldn't find words. Jake seemed just as uneasy, flashing an awkward smile as he sat on the edge of the bed. "Well, this is weird, huh?" he said, breaking the ice. I nodded and asked, "Yeah, you okay with this?" He grinned slightly and admitted, honestly, "I'm kinda nervous." His honesty melted my anxiety. After an awkward silence, he opened up quietly. "Lily and I have been married for 12 years. Things used to be passionate, but now it's like we're just roommates." His voice was calm but carried a deep loneliness. I decided to be honest too. It's the same with Ethan. He says he loves me, but the spark's been gone for a while. Jake nodded. "Yeah, Olivia. Seems like we're all in the same boat." We talked deeply about our marriages, and his honesty melted my anxiety. Then Jake stepped closer. "Olivia, tonight, can we just let go and be real?" His eyes were warm yet intense, like they could see right through me. I swallowed hard, my throat tight with nerves, and nodded. When he took my hand, a jolt of electricity shot through me. His hand was warm and rough, and every brush of his fingers against my skin made my heart race faster. He leaned in and kissed me, his lips charged with raw desire that took my breath away. The kiss deepened, his tongue exploring my lips, stirring every sense in my body. His hands slid down my back, boldly pulling my waist close, and my body instinctively arched toward him. As he peeled off my shirt, revealing my skin, his unfamiliar scent filled my senses. The heat of his toned muscles and sweat-dampened skin under my fingertips set my whole body ablaze. 10 years of marriage had dulled the woman I used to be under a monotonous routine, but now she was waking up. Sex with Ethan had become a predictable chore, but Jake's touch was different. His hands roamed my body's contours, and as my breathing grew ragged, I felt desires I'd forgotten waking up. When his fingers grazed my thighs, delving deeper, I couldn't hold back a moan. "Jake." I whispered his name, and he murmured in a low voice, "Olivia, you're so beautiful." Those words weren't just flattery, they were like a spell, reminding me I was still a woman. When his body pressed into mine, a wave of intense sensation sent my thoughts spiraling into nothing. His ragged breathing and quickening pulse echoed in my ears as his chest pressed against me. Our bodies intertwined, creating a heat that pulled me into a vortex of forbidden pleasure. The drudgery of daily life, morning coffee, endless dishes, Ethan's distant presence, vanished in that moment. As Jake's hands held my back, his lips grazed my neck, and his movements synced with my rhythm, I felt free. I was a woman again, capable of desire and being desired. His rough whispers, "Olivia, you're so sexy. I can't get enough," shook me to my core. Guilt flashed, but it barely registered. In that moment, I was consumed by the fierce sensation of being alive and the tidal wave of pleasure. We craved each other, caught up in a frenzy of passion, losing ourselves in endless exploration. That night wasn't just about pleasure, it was about rediscovering myself, breaking free from the heavy chains of routine, and soaring with a sense of liberation. The next morning, I woke to find Jake beside me. Sunlight streamed through the curtains, illuminating his face as he breathed softly in sleep. The previous night seemed like a fevered blur. When he opened his eyes and whispered, "Good morning," with a smile, my heart raced again. "Sleep well?" I asked, and he replied, "Too well." Last night, it's unforgettable, taking my hand. His warmth sent my heart racing. It wasn't just physical attraction, his genuine words and actions created a special connection. At breakfast, I observed the other couples. Everyone seemed calm, but the heat of the previous night still flickered in their glances. Ethan was chatting lightly with Lily, laughing. Seeing them stirred a mix of jealousy and relief. "How was it, Ethan?" I asked cautiously. He smiled faintly and said, "It was fine. But being with you is better." His words wrapped my heart in comfort. On the way home, Ethan and I were alone. Uncharacteristically, he brought up the previous night. Spending time with Lily was fun, but in the end, I wanted to come back to you, Olivia. His eyes were earnest, and his words brought tears to my eyes. "Same here, Ethan. Last night was special, but you're my home." We held hands tightly. Back home, life resumed, but something had changed. Ethan and I felt closer, cherishing each other more. That weekend had reignited a spark in our marriage. At the next volleyball practice, the team's vibe was electric. Everyone threw themselves into practice with energy, and laughter filled the gym. That weekend seemed to have brought positive changes for us all. Our skills improved noticeably, and our teamwork grew stronger. When we won a regional tournament, the team's cheers shook the gym. "We did it!" Sophia shouted, and we all hugged, sharing the joy. This victory wasn't just a sports achievement, it marked a fresh start for our lives. The post-practice meeting was livelier than ever. Sophia threw out another bold idea. "What if we do it again, but at a different place?" Her eyes gleamed with a playful spark. Everyone cheered, "Let's do it," and my heart raced with excitement. At home, I found Ethan preparing dinner, a rare sight. "What's got you so inspired?" I teased, and he grinned sheepishly, saying, "Just felt like doing something special." Since that weekend, he'd become more affectionate. Gratitude and love surged through me. Over the next few weeks, I sometimes thought of Jake, his warm touch, soft whispers, and deep conversations. It was more than physical attraction. It added depth to my feelings without shaking my love for Ethan. My bond with Lily deepened too. We never directly discussed that night, but our bond deepened. "Lily, we're on the same page, right?" I asked cautiously. She smiled and said, "Yeah, Olivia. Something only we get." Her words warmed me. The second retreat was held at a resort hotel. More people joined, and new faces appeared. Ethan was nervous at first, but soon mingled, joking with others. His social side surprised me. In the name draw, I got Jake again. "You again?" he teased with a laugh, and I replied, "Guess it's fate." This time, there was no awkwardness. We connected naturally. When his hands wrapped around my waist and his lips grazed my neck, my body came alive again. We lost ourselves in deep pleasure, his breathing growing rough as my body moved with his rhythm. "Olivia, you're..." He gasped, and I melted deeper into his embrace. That night went beyond desire. It felt like we truly connected. The next morning, eating breakfast in the hotel restaurant, I reflected. This relationship was wild but didn't hurt anyone. It might even be a new way for everyone to find happiness. The courage to seek our own joy, free from outdated rules, that was the path we chose. Back home, Ethan shared a bit about his time with Sophia. She's fun and bright, but you're the one for me. His smile brought relief and joy. My time with Jake was special, but Ethan was my one and only. As time passed, our secret retreats became regular. New participants joined, weaving new tales of love and passion. But Ethan, me, Lily, and Jake, our quartet remained constant. The volleyball team kept ranking high in regional tournaments, and practices grew more passionate. Our secret exchanges seemed to boost our game too. Every part of life buzzed with energy. One day, Lily came to me with something to discuss. She was thinking of leaving Jake. I met someone new. I'm in love for real, she said, her eyes steady but shaky. I was stunned. Really? What about us? I asked, my voice shaking. She looked down and said, I'm sorry, Olivia. I thought hard about it, but this is my truth. I feared the harmony we'd built seemed ready to crumble. Jake contacted me too. I understand Lily's choice. I just want her to be happy, he said, his voice steady but tinged with sadness. His strength touched me, making me care for him even more. I love Ethan, but I couldn't deny my special feelings for Jake. Days of inner chaos followed. I considered telling Ethan everything, but his calm smile stopped me. I didn't want to shatter our calm. Yet the inner conflict grew. Was this okay? Should things change? I couldn't find answers. Then Ethan spoke up unexpectedly. Olivia, I've known about Lily and Jake, and you and Jake. I froze, breathless. His face was calm, with no trace of anger. I've had moments with Sophia too, but it doesn't change how I feel about you. If anything, giving each other freedom has deepened our love. Tears spilled over at his words. Ethan, I'm sorry. And thank you, I sobbed, falling into his arms. We talked for hours about how to move forward, how to define our relationship, and what to do about Jake. There were no easy answers, but opening up to each other lit the way. We chose an open marriage, respecting each other's freedom while holding onto love and trust. I continued my connection with Jake, and Ethan kept his with Sophia. It might not fit the usual marriage mold, but it worked for us. Months later, Lily was thriving with her new partner. She left the volleyball team but stayed in touch. Jake was moving forward with new connections too. Life is always changing, I realized. A year later, our open marriage settled into a stable rhythm. My bond with Ethan deepened, built on greater respect. My relationship with Jake remained special. It might defy societal norms, but we'd found our own happiness. The volleyball team buzzed with new members. Post-practice meetings were still filled with lively stories, and new connections blossomed. I often think about this wild tangle of connections. Without volleyball, this life wouldn't exist. Early in my marriage, I couldn't have imagined this future. But now I have no regrets. I'm proud of being live my truth, unshackled by judgment. At the next practice, I chatted with a new member, Chloe. Freshly married, she radiated that fresh married bliss. Chloe, how's volleyball? Fun, right? I asked with a smile. So fun. The team vibe is amazing, she beamed. Someday, will she face the same marital struggles? When that time comes, I'll offer a warm hand. That's the unspoken tradition of our women's volleyball club. In the gym, as the sun sets, I sweat alongside my teammates. The sound of the volleyball, laughter, and cheers They all made me feel truly alive. Wiping sweat after practice, I think. Life is one crazy ride. The unexpected twists are what make it unforgettable. This club taught me more than sports. It showed me how to be honest with myself, break free from old rules, and chase my own joy. Our journey continues, flowing with the endless current of life.